Hey everybody, welcome to the video. My name's Neil, and today we're going to be talking some predictions, some series predictions. Now, I've done the North, I've done the East, now it's time for the Central, which is a division that already existed, but it's a little bit different this year. The realignment has kind of put all the teams in a blender and just, and it's kind of went everywhere. That's kind of how I feel about these divisions. So, it's a different kind of handle on the Central Division. There's new teams that have kind of remained, and then two teams have kind of come in. So I am not real super confident on my predictions in any of the divisions really, but I do have a couple of gut feelings in this one. And if you haven't seen my first two videos, we'll love it if you could go check it out. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button. Talking hockey here on a daily basis, whether it's serious hockey talk or fun hockey talk, jersey concepts, jersey unboxings, all that good stuff. There's also the podcast channel as well, where we talk basically 100% strictly serious talk. So anyways, let's get into this. I want to start off by saying there are a couple of teams in here that I'm really excited to watch this year, and I'm going to tell you which teams those are as we go through that. But in last place, there's a bit of a trend in the last couple of videos. So if you're aware of that trend, then you already know it's the team I'm wearing, the Detroit Red Wings, a team that has struggled. Oh man, I remember making a video, I think it was within the first 15 videos, maybe the first 10 videos on YouTube back in early 2017, and it was titled, "Can the Detroit Red Wings make the playoffs?" Or "Will the Detroit Red Wings make the playoffs?" It was roughly late January, early February of 2017. At that point, Detroit had not missed the playoffs in 25 years or something ridiculous like that. So it was kind of a big deal. And I don't actually remember if they made the playoffs that year, but it doesn't really matter because they haven't been in the playoffs recently. And it's been struggle city for the Red Wings. And I'll say this, I really like some of the off-season moves that they've made. I think they're on the right path. They've had cap issues in the last 4 or 5 years, which they've been dealing with. They're starting to rectify now. They're in a much better position than they were even just last year or 2 years ago. But there's still a lot of work to do. But overall, I really like some of the moves that they've made. I think they'll be a much better team than last year. It's not going to be hard to be worse, so they've got to be better. But even with that said, I don't think there's enough there to kind of elevate them, I guess. I just don't see it. I'm cheering for them because they're technically the underdog now, so I'm kind of rooting for them. But I don't see them coming anywhere than last in this division. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. In 7th position, I have the Chicago Blackhawks. I was surprisingly rooting pretty heavily for Chicago last year when they entered the playoffs. They were the underdog finally. It felt good to cheer for the Chicago Blackhawks as an underdog. It reminded me a little bit of 2010. Not that they were like a super underdog then, it's just that the fact that the story was there. And I like cheering for stories. And Chicago had a good story last year. This year, there's a lot of question marks. I want them to do good because they are an underdog. But the Jonathan Toews situation, the health situation, the Corey Crawford leaving, the aging core, there's a lot of good players in Chicago, regardless of whatever I just said. There's a lot of good players in Chicago. There's a lot of good depth players in Chicago, but to me, it comes down to goaltending. I said this in a previous video. Goaltending can take you all the way. It's rare that offense can take you all the way because if you don't have goaltending but you have offense, it's almost impossible. Almost impossible. But if you don't have a lot of offense but you have goaltending, you can get it done. It's been done before, and there's just not goaltending that I believe in personally in Chicago. So that's what has me worried about the team. And because of that, I just can't, I don't have enough faith in them to rank them, or not rank them, position them any higher than 7th in this division. So that is my prediction. The Chicago Blackhawks will come 7th. And in 6th position, I have the Nashville Predators. So kind of mirroring Chicago, I'm kind of also there with Nashville. Nothing's changed in net. We still got Pekarene. We still got UC Saros. But still, who's going to take the reins? Who's going to be consistent? Because, damn it, neither have been consistent in the past couple of years, and that's honestly pissing me off. because I really like both of them, and I want Nashville to go far. I enjoy cheering for Nashville. I love that arena. I love the fans, and it's really unfortunate that we're not going to see that Bridgestone Arena packed this year. I love watching games on TV in Nashville. Never been there. Would love to go someday after COVID blows over, but still, it's a fun team to kind of cheer for from the outside. I'm not a Predators fan, but it's a team to cheer for from the outside. It's a fun team to cheer for from the outside. And by the way, this jersey, I freaking love this jersey. It super underrated. Just off topic, but maybe it's a good thing that nothing's changed. But I kind of see it as a bad thing. I just want. I'm not even saying you should trade any of them. I just want one of them to just catch on fire and just take the net and go with it. I thought it was going to be Saros. Then he had a couple of games where he just didn't really look that great. And I don't know. It's a deep team. They just need to be consistent, and it's frustrating because I feel like they have the pieces. Their back half, their defense core, is probably one of my favorite in the entire league. Top three. I love watching those guys play. Any defensive lineup that can produce that much offense is going to be a fun team to watch. That's another reason why I really like Nashville. So I just want some consistent goaltending, some consistent defense, some consistent offense. I just want consistency from Nashville, but I don't know. Putting them any higher than this was just a little bit too risky. In fifth position, I'm predicting the Florida Panthers. I really don't want the trend of this video to just all be about goaltending, but for the Florida Panthers, it is, for me. The Bobrovsky that I know was not the Bobrovsky that we saw last year. And I don't even know if it's arguable. Like, if you can't even make the argument against that opinion, he just wasn't the same. He just wasn't, it was his first year in his big contract, and he just wasn't the same. It's as simple as that. That's all it comes down to. The team has the rest of the pieces. They're on the back end, on the defensive end, they definitely could use some upgrades in specific areas, but up front, I really, really like their forward lineup. They're deep, and they're a big team. Like I said with Nashville, fun team to watch because of their defensive, and their defensemen are quite often offensively minded. With Florida, they're so physical and big. I love, it's kind of, they feel like old school hockey in a way sometimes when I watch them. So I really like watching the team, but I just lack confidence. Coming from the goaltender, I lack confidence, and I hope Bobrovsky has a bounce back year. I would really, really love to see hockey take off in Florida like it did back in the mid-'90s when they went all the way in '96, throwing the rats on the ice and stuff. Not that I want that to happen again, although it'd be pretty funny. But I want to see success because I don't like seeing teams like Florida sit at 20% capacity in a regular year as far as attendance, where Arizona sit at 20 or 30%. Arizona's gotten a lot better. Definitely gotten a lot better. They've done some amazing things with the brand recently, but Florida, there's still some work to do. They're making some improvements, but I don't want hockey to die in Florida. I don't want to see another team move. It would be great to see Quebec come back. And if any team in the traditional Atlantic Division was going to move, it would likely be Florida or Ottawa. And Florida would hypothetically go to Quebec, so I want that to happen in a way, but I don't at the same time. I don't want to see the Florida Panthers go anywhere. It's a team that I have a slight special place in my heart for because I grew up playing minor hockey and competitive hockey as a Panther. Our team was called the Panthers. So I've always kind of been low-key a Florida Panthers fan. And I like the rest of the makeup of the team. I really do. But, man, goaltending, last year I predicted them pretty high. I almost put them first, or maybe I did put them first. I can't remember exactly. And I'm going to learn my lesson a little bit here. I'm going to learn my lesson. My hopes were too high, and they got crushed because of Bobrovsky. So I'm going to do the opposite this time and bring them down just a little bit, but I definitely see potential there. But everything, for me, rides on Bobrovsky. In fourth position, I am predicting the Dallas Stars. So they almost got it done last year, and I think if I looked at other people's lists, which I have not done, but if I looked at other people's lists, I feel like Dallas is further down than most people's. I feel like a lot of people would have Dallas, maybe one or two. They got all the way last year. They didn't get it done, and it was frustrating because I was cheering for Dallas, and I saw certain players like Tyler Seguin, and I'm like, you are better than this. You are so much better than this. Like, what's going on? And Radulov and Ben and a couple of the other players. I'm like, you have more in you. Like, this this team, you guys are playing good, but you could be better. Like, it was frustrating. And then we learned about all the injuries, all the like crazy injuries that a lot of the players had on Dallas. And then you take a step back and you're like, okay, that makes sense. I understand that. So there is potential there for Dallas to go all the way again. They're incredibly deep, fun team to watch, inconsistent, but very exciting, very very exciting. That's why they're one of my favorite teams, top five. So I hope Dallas does good. They've retained Hudobin. Bishop is still there, so I am assuming they're going to go with Hudobin as their starter. I hope they do, but yeah, if they get the same goaltending they had last year, we're going to see them pretty high in the division. But I'm going to predict that they do a little bit less damage than they did last year. I'm going to say that they're still mending some wounds, maybe, and coming off a bit of a Stanley Cup high. So maybe they lack a little bit of energy this year, or maybe I'm totally wrong and they're pissed off and they're looking for revenge. We'll see. In third position in the Central, I am predicting the Columbus Blue Jackets. Pretty much the definition of underrated team in the league. They don't get enough credit where they deserve. They don't get enough attention just league-wide. They're super underrated. They have a lot of potential. And if you just look at last year, I know this video is about what's to come, but let's just look back just for a second. And what they did with all the injuries they had last year, and they were still successful. Successful is, I guess, a relative term, but you know what I mean. They did well. They did well. And they did it not at 100%. So if Columbus can be at 100%, there's a lot of potential there. And I harped pretty heavily on poor goaltending earlier in this video for some of the teams. That's not the case for Columbus. I am all in on Korpisalo, Merzlikins. I'm feeling it. I feel good about it. I think they're going to carry the team to a new level, much like they did last year. I think they're going to get to that next step. I don't know if that next step means conference finals or cup, but I think it's progression, and I think it's important progression. It's coming. I believe in Columbus this year. I think there's good things coming. They could shock me and go first. Who knows? In second position, I have the Carolina Hurricanes. So if we go back roughly 3 years ago, not a lot of people were paying attention to Carolina, but for whatever reason, and I really don't have an explanation. I honestly don't. Maybe I don't know if it was because they drafted Aho and I was a big fan, and I was just following the team because they had a bit of a transition happening, some new players going out, lots of new players coming in, and I found it just interesting. Maybe that's the reason. I honestly don't remember, but I started to pay attention to Carolina, and I remember making a prediction and getting called out on it actually in that video because I predicted them to. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I predicted them to place higher than a lot of people had them, and I got some hate for that. I definitely did, but I was paying such close attention to the team that I saw a little bit of potential there, and they actually pretty much landed exactly where I wanted them to be, or where I predicted them to be, which felt really good because I usually don't get any predictions right. So that made me follow the team a little bit more, and then they get better, and then they get better, and then they got a lot better, and that's kind of where we're at now. Carolina is. They are on the brink of a cup. That might be kind of a bold thing to say, but I honestly believe that they're right there. Like, and I don't think it matters who they face. I don't think it matters who they play in the playoffs. I'm just assuming that Carolina's going to make the playoffs this year. It's not about is Carolina going to make it? Whatever. Carolina's going to make the playoffs. I feel good about that, but I don't think it matters who they play. Colorado's a tough team, but I think Carolina can match up well, even with Colorado, maybe even with Vegas. So, maybe my likeness for Carolina, I don't want to say love, my likeness for Carolina is getting my hopes up a little bit too much. But the team is deep, the goaltending has potential. I love the defensive core in Carolina. I just feel good about the team. And maybe this is one of those predictions where it's a kind of about the gut feeling, and maybe a little bit more emotional and less logical than some of the others. But I don't know, guys. I feel good about Carolina. I think some good things could come for the Hurricanes this year. And first overall in the Central Division, I am choosing the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, kind of an easy pick here, defending Stanley Cup champions. But the real reason is, and this is going to be a quick section, it's the same team, pretty much. Like, pretty much exactly the exact same team. Pretty much the exact same team as when it was the year before that. It's a team that could honestly win the Cup this year, win the Cup next year, and maybe win the Cup after that. Like, that's how good this team was. The year where Columbus swept them in the first round, that was an anomaly, 100%. And they could have won the Cup that year as well. That was a weird series, but what do you say other than Tampa Bay is amazing? I mean, really, there's nothing to say. There's not even anything to really complain about. I don't think they're coming off a Stanley Cup hangover. That's a team that is young as well. They've got a lot of young talent on there. I don't think they're going to have a bunch of old guys floating around out there being tired because they partied all off season. This is a team that could very easily win another Stanley Cup. And sorry, Tampa fans, I'm not cheering for you, like, at all. You're the team I'm cheering least for this year because you just won a Stanley Cup. I don't like repeats. I don't like back-to-back Cup wins. I know a lot of people do. That's totally fine. I like the underdog story, so I'm going to be rooting against Tampa Bay regardless of who they play this year. But I say that, but I'm still going to watch them because they're such a fun team. They're such a fun team to watch. I selfishly kind of wish that I was a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, but I'm not. They're too good. They're too good to cheer for me. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Leave your predictions down below in the comments. I'd love to know who you think is coming first, eighth, whatever. Leave your whole list. Leave your reasons, whatever you want to do. I will read your comment. I read all the comments. Thank you for the engagement. If you like this video, if you like prediction videos, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. And I'll catch you in the next video where I predict what's it called? The West Division. Weird name. I'll see you then. Adios.